Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going. As I like to remind you each and every day, it expands our base. 3 votes. 3 votes. The president's legislative approach depends now on 3 votes. Will his package, his great, big, beautiful bill, pass? No one knows. We'll know perhaps tonight or tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But let's understand something. The days when the slogan was, "Come, let us reason together," is long gone. We now have a president with a narrow majority, 3 votes in the House of Representatives, who is determined to push through his program, period. And now his problem is getting the Republicans to go along. And it's going to be a real battle. And even if he succeeds, we then have to go to the United States Senate. And in the United States Senate, well, frankly, there is also a question of whether this legislative package will pass. And yet for Donald Trump, it is critical. Understand that previously, during the previous 120 roughly days in his administration, he's done everything by executive order. There's been no legislative achievement. But this time, the president cannot simply impose what he wants. He must have legislative consensus. I want to spend just a moment on the idea of Golden Dome. This is not a new idea. Those of you who are old enough will remember Ronald Reagan's Strategic Defense Initiative, SDI, otherwise known as Star Wars. What Donald Trump is proposing is a space-based blanket that would prevent any attack on the United States by any missile from anywhere. And he intends to complete this in 3 years. Well, I'm willing to venture a thought. I don't think it can be done in 3 years. I have no particular opposition to the idea of this kind of strategic defense initiative. I think the idea of protection is critical. We've seen it in Israel with Iron Dome. But remember, and this is important, Israel is the size of New Jersey, meaning that Iron Dome protects a very limited area, a very limited space. What you're talking about with Golden Dome, and by the way, is anybody surprised he wants to use the term golden? What he's talking about with Golden Dome is something that would protect the entire United States. It is a massive undertaking. And this at a time when, well, we do face dangers in the world. There is no doubt about the strategic danger of Iran. And there is more and more speculation that the United States, with Israel, may hit the Iranian nuclear program. Whether or not it happens, who knows? But the point is, Iran is a threat. China, most assuredly, represents a threat. Russia, most assuredly, represents a threat. North Korea, which has a nuclear capability, also represents a threat. In sum, it is not irresponsible of Donald Trump to propose Golden Dome or something similar to what Ronald Reagan proposed all those years ago, decades ago, in the Strategic Defense Initiative. And it makes sense. Now the question becomes, can we afford it? Well, the counter-argument is, we can't afford not to do it. Because if some irrational force or nation were to develop a weapon which could be used strategically, well, we learned it on September 11th, didn't we? What if Osama bin Laden had had a nuclear capability? Can you imagine what would have happened in New York and Washington? So these are real issues in terms of our future. But let's bring it back to the earth, to what Ronald Reagan proposed years ago and what Donald Trump is proposing now, not only in terms of a nuclear shield, but also the question of the direction of the nation's economy. I would suggest that Republicans have to get their house in order, but they're having a tough time doing it, and that's part of the political process. Ronald Reagan often appealed to members of Congress and did apply pressure to get what he wanted through Congress. Donald Trump is now doing the same thing. The difference now is that Donald Trump's proposal is Donald Trump's proposal. And the question of whether or not members of the Republican Party today want to enter into the world of Donald Trump so completely, that's the question. And I raise it because I think it's important to understand when you only have a 3-vote majority in the House of Representatives, 3 votes, anything can happen. And Donald Trump is aware that if the Republicans lose the majority in the House, well, all bets are off. His ability in his last 2 years of his term to really function would effectively be crippled. And so now we enter into a massive political discussion. And those of us who are political junkies will be interested to see what the Republican Party does. Let me give you what I think is the bottom line. If the Republicans force through the House of Representatives this legislative package, this great, big, beautiful bill, then they will be bound without any doubt to Donald Trump's success or failure. And it's a tough one for the Republicans, because if what Donald Trump is proposing goes down to defeat, or if we suffer a major recession, or if his tariff program creates havoc with the American economy, if any of these things happen, and the Republican Party is tied irrevocably to Donald Trump, they're going to lose. But there is another side to this, and that is the gamble of success. If Donald Trump is able to get this package through, and if it passes in the Senate, and if it's signed into law, and if it succeeds, well, Donald Trump will either be a hero or a villain. The Republicans understand clearly that everything is on the line, and the real line, or should I say hook, line, and sinker, rests with Donald Trump. The power of the presidency is clear. The question of intimidation, of arguing, of raising these questions, that's all going on now. And so, if you enjoy the great drama of politics, if you enjoy watching the spectacle of trying to put together a legislative package, and if you believe in Ronald Reagan's approach, which was, let's compromise here and there, as he did with Tip O'Neill, let's remind everyone that Donald Trump has no one to compromise with. The Democrats are going to oppose him no matter what. So we all wait with anxious anticipation, because a lot of programs are on the line. A lot of approaches are on the line. Oh, by the way, Elon Musk, no longer a factor, evidently. Donald Trump has moved on. But he cannot move on from the Republicans in the House and the Republicans in the Senate. Without their support, his legislative package is doomed. We'll have to see what happens. And I can't wait. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am John Rothman. Make sure to follow along and let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand, which, of course, is our goal. And you can interact with me on LinkedIn, on Facebook. You can email me directly. This is an important part of the interactive nature of a podcast, and I count on all of you to offer your observations. And to Gogo Zoger, the wonderful producer of this podcast, Gogo, as always, my sincere appreciation to you for everything you do to get Around the Political World with John Rothman up and running every single day. See you tomorrow.